السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Distinguished dignitaries and my dear cronies and companions, in this glorious occasion of Consoulium 2K24, I have great pleasure to be part of this function and to deliver something on my selected topic, the inheritance of law, prioritizing the justice. My dears, as we know, Islam is the religion which encompasses every aspect of human life. It's an ideology of equality and justice. It would not be mistaken to say that Islam is the most effective guideline which prescribed, which would forwarded exceptional moral values and means for the whole humankind. Despite these insubstitutable qualities attributed to it, Islam had been subjugated to the excess of controversies, allegations over the years. The Prophet ﷺ was abused more and more in his life. His marriage life, war participation, everything seemed suspicious in mere jest looking were torn out publicly. Apart from these, key ideas of Islam were objectified to the skepticism. And it would be definitely one of most crucified role, that is the inheritance law of Islam. My dears, the prime argument put forwarded by those who are highly reluctant on this, that is, Islam only provides the half of the proportion of men to women. 11th and 12th and 116th verses from Surah An-Nisa have explicitly posited the heirs and their dividends. And the statements from 6th edition of Tuhfa also underlined these facts. So their argument is valid. It's not lie, it's valid. It's absolutely true. But what we have to understand in this situation is that in Islam, every rule, every idea is constructed not based on mere induction or mere assumption, but it is created based on very crystal clear logic. That is the idea of Islam. So, the inheritance law of Islam is carried out basically under three fundamental criteria. One of them is the closeness in relationship, and second one of them is the chronological differences in the between the died person and the heir. The economical responsibility is the last and least in this list. Women get what they wanted. Women get what they wanted from their fathers before the marriage. After the marriage, as husband is accountable for everything what they wished for. So the economical burden is on the head of men. To be short, women need not to bear any sort of economical burdens on their head. That is the idea. That is based on this reality. Islam gives the double the women to men. Oh my dears, it's very sorrowful. It's very pity to hear that Islam approved the rights of women. If we cast a glances upon the historical pages, we can see shining interferences from Islam for women in the Dark Age, where women have no right. Women had no right neither to live nor to die. وَإِذَا بُشِّرَ أَحَدُهُمْ بِالْأُنْثَى if one is informed on the birth of a girl child, gets enraged and ready to dig the pit to put them in. That was the condition existed in the Dark Age. In that condition, Islam comes forward, establishing, raising, they're arguing for the rights of women. Not long, long years have been passed after world most self-proclaimed liberalistic country America took a tiny discussion on the rights of women. Not long days have been passed. Just recently, they have taken a single bite on the rights of women. This was the condition. So Islam have more. If Islam have considered women as vulnerable thing, and Islam gave much consideration to them. But those who are aimed at relentless attack against Islam won't see, never see this side of proportion, this side of justice of Islam. Let me conclude here.
If I have one daughter and one son, according to Islamic inheritance, my daughter will get only one third of my entire property, but my son will get two-thirds of it. Isn't it a clear picture of injustice?
No, that's your misunderstanding. I can explain with an example. While wife of Zayd bin Harisa radiallahu anhu approached the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in one situation, complaining about the exploitation to be possible in the inheritance of the Zayd radiallahu anhu. Then Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded to brother of Zayd bin Harisa radiallahu anhu to give were two-thirds of the to his daughters and one-eighth for the wife of Zayd bin Harisa radiallahu anhu. We can see 10 conditions where women get much more than men in the inheritance law. We can clearly see.
How does the principle of Taqsim al-Mawali balance individual rights and collective family responsibilities in Islamic society?
Sorry, I couldn't understand. Could you repeat once?
How does the principle of Taqsim al-Mawali balance individual rights and collective family responsibilities in Islamic society?
I think your question might be like this. uh, why does Islam doesn't give much consideration to women? As I already mentioned here that based on the economical responsibility, Islam give the proportion to men much double than the women. Yeah, I just have clarified it in my speech.
In Islam, in Islamic inheritance law, once the fixed shares mentioned in the Holy Quran have been given to the respective heirs, the closest relatives such as the son and father often lost their rights. Isn't this justice done to the closest relatives in the family?
Could you just decrease your speed while questioning? I couldn't understand, but your
In
speed.
Islamic inheritance law, once the fixed shares mentioned in the body or Holy Quran have been given to the respective heirs, the closest relatives, such as the son and father, often lost their rights. Isn't this injustice done to the closest relatives in the family?
The basic thing what we have to understand in this situation that we can't understand Islam by our rationality, by our mere rationality. That's our limitation. Khuliqal insan laifa and others thing, uh, human have the limitation of thought and wisdom. They judge value things in by their mere limitation. But if we dive into the deep of the rule of Islam, we can clarify such doubts.
It is considered just to grant woman inheritance in Islam. as they are not assigned financial responsibilities. However, in today's context, where we assess women to have education and employment opportunities, how can this principle still be seen as fair?
Could you repeat once?
It is considered just to grant women in religious Islam, as they are assigned financial responsibilities. However, in today's context, where we assess women to have education and employment opportunities, how can this principle still be seen as fair?
Do you argue that Islam doesn't give education to women? Is it your argument? I perceive that. So, the explanation that I can give to your question is Islam have considered them very proficiently, very appropriately. Islam gave, and although I also mentioned in my speech, Islam had given them 10 much consideration in 10 conditions where women get much consideration than women in 10 conditions. So Islam has a distinct perspective on everything. It's not a ideology of what just appearance. It has a long and it has a long dying perspective. So let me conclude here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.